Last time on the Incorrigible party.
Despite Denny's impressive flight speed, Shaft and Falzern have trouble distancing themselves from the giant's throw, and are devastated by a pursuing Bahir's lightning breath. Hundreds of feet away, Mia and Shakara do their best to come to the halfling and half-elf's aid. Mia utilizing Shaft's shackles of shackling to get in the fight, and Shakara left out of the running.
Now let's get back to the adventure. Well, that didn't go as planned.
You all are alright?
Ish.
I'm not doing great, but I can walk.
I'm so spent. This is crazy. There's a fight going on above us. We're gonna be no help.
Is there no way out of here? Other than going all the way back?
Through that big stone there, if we can figure out how to move that out of the way, but there's a lot of crap behind it.
And
a couple giants.
You said giants, yeah.
And who knows what else. We could only see there was a few tunnels and a bunch of crates.
I don't think going that way is safe at all. We need to go back the way we came.
Well, we should go check it out while we're here. I mean, it's right over there. Let's see if there's any other pathways where we can hear anything, maybe.
Go right ahead. This feels pointless.
I start walking that way.
I will walk with him.
You're only a couple hundred feet away. Only, I believe, a couple rounds of Denny kind of zipping away before the Bahir caught up. But as you're walking over top of those constant booms and tremors from above, a louder, more severe and slightly prolonged impact shakes the tunnel around you. Those small, I described them as like as if it was a handful of dirt kind of sprinkling down from the booms. Now, from this impact, they're more like a bucket full of dirt and rocks that start to coat the tunnel floor. And then back to that constant boom, the softer by comparison booms you can hear from above.
So we get the impression that something's hitting up above and it's moving and going, we're hearing it from different distances, and this particular one was just a close hit.
Or a bigger something hit.
Or bigger.
Exactly. Something's stomping around up there.
Or a ship crashed.
How do we know this tunnel's gonna hold, guys? This doesn't seem good.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we should get out of here.
Okay, so did we get up? We got up to the stone, and I'm just gonna look around, see if there's anything that any kind of other side passages or anything that looks like we might be able to do to get through this. If there's a crack or something like that.
Okay, give me an investigation.
20.
Taking a few brief seconds, you can pretty conclusively figure out that there's no way to get around this without physically moving it. Potentially, I suppose you could maybe start to dig around it, but judging by the size of it, like it's like a singular, 20-foot diameter stone. So there is nothing stopping you from trying to tunnel your way around it, but how long that may take you, unclear.
So I'll go around looking at the cracks and everything. There's no way to get through this. We better get out of here. You ready? And I point back at the other end of the tunnel.
So we must run again.
Unless somebody has a way to move this thing or get through it. I look at Falzern. Is there anything you can do? Any kind of trick or spell?
Shaft, maybe if I was fully rested, perhaps, but even then I think it's unlikely. But in the state I'm in right now, I don't stand any chance to move this thing.
All right, I think we're out of options. Let's go. And I start running down I think as we hear these, this dirt's falling down, we'll just pick up the pace. And we can only dash so much before we're going to start taking exhaustion, right?
Right. Is short resting, can you walk? No.
No. And obviously a short rest would be an hour. I don't think you all want to spend an additional hour.
No, I don't.
Can I cast for 10 minutes while swiftly walking?
You aren't specifically ritual casting, right? It's just the casting time?
Yeah, but it was a deep, steep drop into the hole, wasn't it?
It was a bit of a slide down into the hole. I'm going to say you would need to stop to cast something with a casting time of longer than a minute, you would need to be stationary to focus on that casting. So you've all started to move back now to where the end of this tunnel comes out at the tent, right?
You know what? I'm really tired. I'm gonna let Shaft walk there, and then I'm gonna teleport.
I was going to suggest, Bill, you can teleport, correct? Yourself. Do you have that ability available to you now? Because Shakar and I could take Denny, and then Mia can teleport to me. So as long as you can get yourself out.
I could, but not in the state I'm in right now. I don't have the spell slots, basically. What I was going to say is, I don't know if this also seems too far-fetched, but Shakara could ask me if she could ride Denny. I don't know if riding a broom would be less demanding, so you could ritual cast while you're doing that, or no?
Well, my also point was we would get to the end and then Buttercup would be stuck.
Oh, okay.
So then I would just dismiss her, so it would save us maybe 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not worth it, really.
Well, you all walking, I assume at a fairly brisk pace. Another one of those kind of prolonged impacts shake the tunnel around you, and more dirt and debris. And right basically almost directly above where you've downed this Bahir, a little tiniest ray of sunlight kind of breaks into the darkness of this tunnel. And being directly under it, you hear very, very muffled shouts and cries that are barely audible from above.
Wait, this may be our way out.
Yeah, Falzern, take Denny up there and take a look.
I don't know. It doesn't seem safe, but I guess Denny is pretty quick and nimble. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, just prairie dog your head out.
Okay. Okay.
We were all so silent for so long. We couldn't.
Pause to laugh.
It's such a visual.
He's prairie dogging it.
I know. I'm prairie dogging it.
All right. So Falzern will get back on Denny and will kind of urge Denny up toward this little bit of light that's trickling through. See if I can see anything, if there's a large enough crack or hole, or if I can hear any more to be able to discern what's up there.
Getting it right up to, why don't you give me a perception check to listen, as visually it's easy to find kind of almost like this little pinhole of dirt that has given way, which you are only able to detect because it is pitch black in here, right? Like this, the only source of light at all for like a mile and a half in this tunnel, right, is here. So very visually, very easy to find.
13 for perception.
Right up to this kind of opening, like barely enough for you even to put like your pointer finger into it, right? And you can like looking through a keyhole almost, can look straight up and you see like blue sky, because again it's a very clear day out, and you can hear like the sound of weapons and people shouting and spells being cast and incantations being muttered from above.
What do you see?
Well, I can't really see very much. I see the sky up there, but I can hear what sounds like battle. It sounds like there are spellcasters in the battle as well. It's hard to make out what's going on exactly or who's there.
Here, back up, Falzer, and I'll try to make the hole bigger.
Wait, we're not in any shape to get into the middle of a battle.
You make a good point, Shaft.
I can. Let me up there.
Well, I could shatter it. Just right on the hole. Make it bigger.
That might bring down the entire ceiling. We do not know what kind of repercussions that would have.
But yeah, to your point, Shaft, I just figured in battle there might be healers, there might be something that could be done.
Yeah, I follow you, but if we're getting into the middle of the fray, we won't last very long.
It's true.
The beam of light, as you're all discussing this, Falzer, I don't know if you're keeping your eye up to it or have pulled back to report, but regardless, it starts to like almost flicker. It'll just for a brief second, it'll kind of wink out, and then the light will shine back through, and it does that a number of times as you are speaking.
There's people walking over top of the hole. What are you gonna do, Shakara? Bust through?
Yes.
Okay.
Falzarin, let me have Denny.
Falzarin will come down and oblige, a little bit reluctantly. But Shakara, I hope this is a good plan. We're all very badly hurt, and I have very little magic left to help you if it came to that. But here's Denny.
You all stand back, closer to the entrance of the tunnel. Mia, would you use your hammer and try and make the hole bigger?
Yeah. Okay. Make sure you're not in the way.
Yeah, Falzarin is going to move back quite a distance because he's concerned about how much of the ceiling's going to come down.
Yeah, I'll go back about 120 feet. And I'll get back behind Falzarin, and I'll go back a few more feet, and I'll grab his robe and pull him back a few more feet. And then a few more feet.
Mia, instead of like usual with her shield and hammer, like drops her shield and then like double-handed, like tomahawking, sort of chucks the hammer at it.
I'm floating in between in the middle of the tunnel, not as far back as they are, but back a little bit.
So you're not directly under where Mia's aiming.
No.
Told her to get out of the way.
Okay. So like 30 feet then, we'll say.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, Mia, easy. You can definitely smack into, if not directly on this little pinprick, but around it. So just roll me some damage.
Are you serious right now? I rolled so low. 17 damage.
As you do your wind-up tomahawk, and as you throw your hammer, it's sparking through the air and creating more light, and it impacts into the ground, and it punches through this section of tunnel, and light just bathes the entire Bahir, right? This huge spotlight of sun kind of shines into this tunnel now, and you can now very clearly hear the sounds of battle above. And from where you are, Mia, you can see paladins up above. You've punched about a foot diameter hole with your hammer here, and you can see that it looks like they're in like a trench. So you've cracked open like the bottom of this trench, so it's not quite
Nice.
ground level. So clearly they've been sunk.
A little bit of cover.
Yeah, this section was already dug down, and really kind of the only reason that there was so much less dirt for you to go through, because there was already a hole here that these Yogi happened to tunnel under.
Does my hammer come back through the hole, or does hitting it usually comes back to me? So
Yes, your hammer does come back, kind of widening the hole a little bit, on the kind of crack back as well. And it doesn't look like the paladins immediately around the hole have entirely noticed. Again, like you hear them screaming, and you can see archers shooting arrows and magicians singing spells over top of the lip of this trench. Obviously, from your perspective, you cannot see what is beyond that trench just yet.
Yeah, as soon as the hammer comes back through, I will zoom out of the hole.
it's a foot. You can't zoom out of that.
It made it a little bigger when the hammer came back through.
You think you're a foot?
It's only a foot in diameter.
Okay. I will go up to the... As soon as the hammer comes back through, I'll go up to the hole and I will knock it big enough for me to go through. And then I will fly up to what is now the floor level for me. Danny, go back and help them. And then I will stand up. What is going on? And look around.
So it takes a little more effort than what you've kind of explained, obviously. Now, there's about a foot of dirt still, basically, that you need to crawl and dig and pull yourself through. So you can absolutely do that, obviously. I kind of just picture you, like, standing on Denny, with your arms up into the ceiling and just, like, pulling and clawing yourself. And you can, squeeze and barrel your way through it, especially after the impact now. The packed dirt is, becoming, it's loosened, right, as you were crawling through it. and you get to the top, and finally the paladins around you see you emerging from this hole in the trench, and they're startled. They're taking back as they kind of turn their weapons towards you.
I am here to aid you. Help me out of this hole.
Where the hell did you come from?
There is a tunnel.
And they see this circlet around your forehead as well, and they'll offer you a hand and kind of haul you to your feet. And of course everyone can see Shakara disappearing up into this ceiling. So what would the rest of you in the tunnel like to do, if anything?
Seeing that Denny has returned safely without Shakara, I assume that was intentional, but I'd like to make sure that Shakara is okay. So I will mount Denny again and go up toward this hole and sort of peek through, see what I can see if Shakara is up there and is unharmed.
Okay, Shakara, as you're hauled to your feet, you looking out over the lip of the trench, you can see what appears to be a retreating force. There's lumbering orcs, skittering Neogi, growls, and the bleating of Chimera that's swooping low to the ground, screeching of these female forms with wings and claws of a vulture kind of join them in the air, and massive humanoids, giants that tower above the rest, dwarfing even the number of Umber Hulks that travel close to each of the Neogi. Taller still than a pack of furred simian monstrosities with big curled and curved horns that sweep back along their skull. And the parts of their bodies that are not splattered in blood or charred and burned by fire is this pristine snow white. So there's a number of different creatures making up this attacking force. And again, they do seem to have turned tail. And you can see out in, I suppose, what you for the lack of a better term, we'll call no man's land to paint this picture, right, on the other side of these trenches. The many peaks of the Vorgrag Mountains just kind of loom above the direction that you were looking northwest here, right? The direction they're retreating to. And the ground is just pockmarked with impact points and scorch marks, and two long, big scorched lines kind of cut into the ground itself.
Do I see Falzarin?
Yes, so Falzarin has a few seconds later worming himself through this hole, which I think he would fit a little easier than Shakara would.
Only because of my armor.
Right. The armor adds 10 pounds.
Is it safe up there?
Shakara, what's going on?
It does appear the Neogi and their forces are retreating. Come up.
Okay, so Falzarin, upon hearing that, will go the full way through this hole, and I guess I'll just remain on Denny if I'm able to, and hover a bit up in the trench to take a look around at what you just described. My goodness, look at all of those beasts.
Is it safe up there? What happened to you guys?
Yeah, quit hogging Denny. We don't want to be stuck down here.
All right, Shakara, I'll be right back.
Mia and Shaft from below, you feel that prolonged rumble as well. As Shakara and Falzarin up above, clearly you see the rising four about 100 feet up in the air. Its weapon, the anchor weapon, just blasting and scraping across the retreating forces.
I'll say to Mia, I want to get on Denny up there. You can port to me.
Yeah, it's fine. We just gotta get Denny.
Come on, Falzarin!
All right, so Falzarin will ride Denny back through and say, it seems to be safe up here. I mean, there's a huge battle, but I think our side is winning.
Yeah, just get Shaft.
I jump on the back of Denny. I hold on to him and sort of throw my leg over. Go!
Okay, you can all get up there. Mia, you can pop right up with the shackles, and we can get back into this trench. And a number of paladins have kind of assembled around you. The same one that kind of offered Shakara aid in getting her out of the hole kind of does the same thing to Shaft and Falsey as you come out on Denny. And it does seem there are still sounds of some fighting kind of further down this trench. And in the trench, though, you don't have much visibility as far as seeing. Like you can see out in the front line, obviously, right? Peering over the edge of it. But these trenches are cut in zigzags. So there isn't a stretch of a straight line of trench that's more than 20 or 30 feet. So you can hear lots of other clashes that are starting to die down as well, like same as in your area, but still a bit of fighting going on elsewhere.
I got just move down the tunnel a little bit and then just sort of fall down and lean up against the side of the tunnel. Say, well, if they're retreating, I'm going to rest for a second.
I will turn to the paladin and help me out of the hole. Tell us what has transpired here.
We've been fighting for our lives. This swarm came from the mountains. I mean, we were prepared to fight off something. They attacked. I mean, we repelled them.
You've done a magnificent job. I can't believe the size of this force that you've been up against.
It's the biggest we fought since setting up the encampment.
Was it the ship overhead that drove them back?
It definitely helped.
Are these guys wearing circlets?
The person you were speaking to specifically is not.
Do not trust a retreat. Be on the lookout for them to come back. I must aid my friends. Do you know, are there any clerics around?
You can take the adjoining tunnels. It kind of points back behind them. A few hundred feet down there, you'll find the way back towards the encampment. We're bringing out wounded all over.
I should also let you know, and certainly pass this on, but there seemed to be a network of tunnels underneath the ground that the enemy are using to travel around. There were giants and a massive beast that we had to fight. There are probably many more of them underneath us.
That's where you came from?
Yes.
We were following a tunnel where there was stolen goods being taken from a tent in the camp. So there's literally a tunnel that goes right from the encampment where the storage was to their, I don't know, lair in the mountains.
Do you know if Samuel has arrived yet?
I don't know if he has or not. We've been pretty busy over here.
Well, we didn't see a second ship.
I want to look up to the ship, see if I can see if it's like headed somewhere or if it's still chasing off the army.
The Rising Four has moved maybe a couple hundred feet past, this trench that you're in, which does seem to be like the frontmost trench that you've found yourselves in. And it doesn't look like the Rising Four is pursuing this retreating Nyogi attack force all the way back to the mountains. You see it's still firing ballistas as there's a number of the Harpies and a couple of the Chimeras kind of swooping around at it, but the ballista crew on the deck with the weapon in addition clearly up and functional now that has been repaired, able to keep the flyers off of the deck at least, and but it's not pursuing.
I need healing. Like, I need to rest. I need to lay down. I feel awful.
Is there anything I can do for you? I asked the paladin.
If you can help getting the wounded back, if you're already headed back to the triage tent, anything is appreciated.
And I'll nod to him, and I assume he gestured where the wounded were.
Yeah, yep. And again, there's as you're going to move through these trenches, then, like I said, it's kind of this zigzag, right? And so this trench is approximately, basically, say, the flatmost part of it faces the mountains northwest, right? So left to right. I guess that's more like west to north if you were looking at the positions on it. If you understand this diagonal cut kind of on this compass, if you can picture that. So as you're moving through that, you see basically you come across the first like perpendicular cut trench. And this also in that kind of 20-foot zigzag, so you cannot get a clear line of sight the whole way down the length of it, right? That's obvious tactical reasons, purposefully cut like that, right? But you find this perpendicular trench, and you can take it, in addition to, you see a number of people kind of paladins being taken on makeshift stretchers and wounded being assisted, and people moving and other supplies to and from the front until you get to a second trench that is parallel to the first one that you came out in. Whether you decide to go left or right, someone can point you in either direction. You would be able to find another perpendicular trench to finally a third trench, which obviously you're moving much closer to the encampment.
When we exited the hole from the other tunnel, I could see the mountains, correct?
Yes.
I want to sort of take a mental image of where, what the peaks or what it looks like kind of thing, so I get an idea where that storage area was, where that tunnel ends from up above.
Okay, absolutely. So essentially it's about as far out as kind of the rising forest hovering in the air, kind of overwatching this retreat. And though as you've been moving through these trenches, you see, like, with the expansion of the paladin camp kind of outward in all directions originating from the tower, you've now, coming out of this rearmost trench in relation to the front line, you see that, it's a few hundred feet away from the very edge of the encampment, right? And again, the wounded are being funneled to a series of tents right at the edge. But with this expansion of the encampment, that leaves like less than 2 miles of this open, barren landscape between its edge and the base of the mountains. So incredibly close, especially compared to, how far you were when you were fighting just at the tower, right? There's like this additional mile of encroached space towards the mountains. And you see that behind this rearmost trench, you see the line of those oaken bolters that were stationed at the top of the tower, in addition to a handful of like trebuchets and mangonels, each of them manned by a 5-person firing team, much like the ballista crews aboard the Rising Four. Clearly, this is the source of the smaller booms that you were hearing as they were firing into this no man's land over top of the trenches.
What's a mangonel?
It's very similar to a trebuchet. It's kind of like it's still just firing a projectile, basically.
Okay.
And we're back at the back trench at this point?
Yeah, so if you want to continue to the like medical tents that are set up, you can actually go there in search of some type of healing, to see what you can find there. Otherwise, if I suppose there are other ways to. Really, the only other things that are happening are just the moving of wounded and fresh soldiers back into the trenches. In addition to, there's a myriad of smaller supplies they have that were already transported to the front line, obviously, before the main tent got ransacked.
Well, we'll have to go to the medical tent because we brought some wounded with us. So
yeah, I was gonna say, as we go along, we'll just help people and lead them this way. Try to get them up off their, if they're laying down, get them on their feet and try to lead them back to where they.
I feel like
go.
I see Mia trying to help someone in my mind, but they look at her like, you look worse than me right now. like why are you trying to help me?
Okay, great. You can get to the tent, and obviously, like, it's busy in here, right? It's chaos in here as soldiers are coming in and out, and there are a number of paladins that are out attending to the most severe wounded first, obviously, and it seems that many of them do have some type of healing magic at their disposal, of which they are able to administer to some of the more heavily wounded, in addition to some other paladins that are just like basically handing out health potions, that kind of thing, and bandaging people up and doing what they can. Those people that don't have access to that type of magic still doing what they can to make people comfortable.
Yeah, I don't think we need to take advantage of the clerics and the magic being used to heal people, but if they have healing potions that look like there's plenty, I might go over and grab one as we continue to move back, right? We don't need to stay at the medical tent if we have enough to go back and find some place to rest.
So yes, each of you can grab 2 greater healings, which do 4d4 plus 4.
Are those to be used right now?
If you want to.
You are able to take them if you want to use them now. You feel free, but otherwise, like, they're available to you. I mean, especially if you don't need to actually sit down and take up a bed, they're happy to just hand you what you need and, kind of try to usher you out of here just to get out of the way, right? And to lessen some of the bodies that are taking up space in the tent.
Yeah, Falzarin will very appreciatively grab the 2 health potions and try and get out of the way so they can keep doing their job there.
Same.
I guess I'll just grab them because we need to sort of reorganize and discuss and talk to like leadership and see, are we going to get a full rest? Is it going to just be a short one? Figure it out.
Does someone, I could lend Denny to someone if they want to go up and try and rendezvous with the Rising Four and try and see what the plan is, what's going on, get more information. Shakara, Shaft?
As much as I would love to go see Grimby, I don't know that's where we can best serve right now.
Yeah, I'm fine with finding the leadership on the ground. I mean, I can't go up there and risk getting hurt again right now.
That's true, there are plenty of flying beasts. Probably not too far away.
I think our presence would be more of a distraction right now.
Okay, well, let's try and find who's in charge down here on the ground.
I would assume that would be Sally. Maybe at the tower?
Definitely head to the tower.
Yeah.
I'll start walking towards the tower. I assume I can see it.
Yes, absolutely, as it stands 100 feet tall.
Kind of hard to miss.
As you exit these kind of triage tents, you kind of hear the dousing of flames and just kind of notice basically a source of that plume of black smoke was this huge bonfire, clearly a signal fire. But as the threat seems to have abated, the fire and the signal is being put out. And you want to head towards the tower.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as you're making through the encampment, you're kind of seeing the other side of it now. And again, very similar to what you had walked through, or some of you had walked through. I suppose Shakara hasn't really. But, just a very organized tents, and there are still a number of paladins kind of running in to respond to the front line. And it seems that, the whole camp is in a frenzy almost, right? But it seems that that energy is starting to, calm down as things are starting to finally settle since the horn blew off, right? And by now that was nearly an hour ago, I would say, if not more. So it would take you another 15 or 20 minutes to get to the tower, and nobody is going to interrupt you as you're walking through the camp. And those few paladins that you do see in the camp, again, none of them are wearing circlets.
As we walk by, sort of look at people, give them a head nod, and, just try to... Do they look like they have duties and they know what they need to do and they're running around like they've just been through a battle? Or do they look like they're, like Catherby? Sort of,
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Do they look in order, or do they look,
I do know what you're saying. Okay, give me an insight check, and I'll give you advantage on it because of your interaction with Catherby.
12.
It does seem that everybody you come upon and that you specifically interact with as well, obviously giving you very, very curt nods back and acknowledging your greeting. But yes, they seem like everyone that you come across knows what they are doing and where they need to be, and are in a hurry to be there to do it, to do whatever they have been assigned or tasked with, or whatever they have going on. So no like vacant stares or... obviously Catherby was very reserved in your interaction with her. Very, I don't know if calm is the correct word, but, very serene almost. It does seem like there's still that energy, that energy of battle kind of thing going on with those that you're interacting with.
Okay. Yeah, I think as we go to the tower, are we going to pass the tent that we went into the hole?
Yes, the tent is basically at the base of the tower.
Okay. So as we go by, how does that all look? Is Catherby still standing there? Does it look like,
She's still standing there.
There is no sign of Catherby, and obviously the side of it basically the opposite side of what faces the tower. It was a side that you kind of tore down and slid down in your scimitar. There are a number of paladins that are outside of the tent and, are basically inspecting it and investigating what exactly is going on.
Hey, do you think we should stop over there and tell them what's what about that tunnel?
Yes, I
Quickly.
think so.
Yeah, they're gonna get hurt at the
If
least.
those giants happen to roll that boulder back away and send a bunch of troops in from underground, they need to be prepared.
Tell them quickly we must find Corporal Sally.
Yeah, as we're walking by, I sort of wave over at the paladins. Hey! And, we're still continuing to walk towards the tower, but come here!
Yeah, remind him about Bakla.
Who?
Maybe someone can get the Darkling we left down there.
Ah.
I can't walk hardly. Can't be me.
One of the paladins will approach you.
Hey, has anybody went in that big pit in the middle of the tunnel?
No, not yet. How did you know about it? You know what's going on in there?
Yeah, just stay out. It goes way up to the front lines. It leads to the Yogi and giants and all the stuff you guys were fighting.
No, there's injured Darklings down there.
There is an
Someone's gotta save them.
injured Darkling. More importantly, the tunnel is currently closed by a giant boulder, but you should have guards on this exit, just in case they move it and come through.
What happened to everything inside?
It is all gone,
Destroyed.
destroyed and taken. Do you know where Corporal Sally is? We must find her.
I was just on my way to report to her about the tent. She is in the tower.
We shall report to her. You guard that hole.
Okay. Who are you people?
I walk off.
We're important, that's all you gotta know. And turn around and walk off behind Shakara.
We're the Incorrigibles.
Slow motion walk away.
Where's the sunset?
Falzarin's gonna fly Denny down into that the mouth of the tunnel and look for this Darkling.
Where are you going?
Well, we can't just leave him down there.
I continue walking away.
I continue to walk.
I'll catch up.
Thanks, Falzarin. You're the best. I'm obviously hit in the head. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Mia's concussed. Mia's concussed. Hold on, everyone. Hold on.
I'm concussed.
Are you still walking with us, Mia?
I am limping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shaft, Mia, and Shakara. You can walk into the tower as the door is open. It's not sealed up or anything.
A hexblood, a cleric, and a ranger walk into a tower.
Mm-hmm.
You see at the bottom, where before there was kind of that there almost like that concave section in the bottom right. Still, obviously, all the sigils that Falzarin and Drag had inspected are still engraved kind of on the inside of the tower. But now in the very center, which was empty before, it looks like there's like a table, a large table and a number of chairs set up. Various kind of papers strewn across it. Most of it, just kind of at a quick glance, is like kind of a quick sketches of the encampment itself. Looks like there are some markings as far as like postings of groups of and patrols of paladins, that kind of thing. And Corporal Sally is kind of both palms on the table, leaned over some of these papers as she's kind of going over the information on them.
Is that paladin? Did he come with us, or did he stay like Shakara asked?
He went back to the tent. Especially, he kind of trailed after Falzarin.
Sally, we must speak with you.
You're here. When did you arrive?
It's a long story. I'm sorry about the smell. I was swallowed.
The supply tent has been ransacked. There is a tunnel that goes all the way under the encampment to the tent. Everything has been taken.
Everything?
Everything.
Taken or destroyed. There's nothing left.
It is a long tunnel. At the end, there is a giant boulder. But it was put there by two giants that could easily remove it.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff's still behind that big rock at the end, but I don't know if it's worth trying to go down there and get it. You'd probably be better off just destroying the tunnel.
completely irretrievable. We need those supplies. We don't have another batch coming in for a week.
It depends on how bad you need them, how many men you'll lose. It's a tricky situation.
Shaft, what did you see?
So at the very end, there's this big stone. Behind that stone is a number of pathways. Probably these Umberhawks are making these pathways throughout, right underneath the front lines.
And there's salamanders, Sally.
If you get to the front trenches right before no man's land, you can burrow down into it without having to go down the length of the tunnel. But you're still going to have to do something about that rock. I'm sure there's another entrance somewhere.
Probably in the mountains. I meant in terms of their forces.
Oh, just a couple giants and a few other creatures. I couldn't really make them out.
But we did fight, as Mia said, a giant salamander.
The thing that swallowed you?
Yeah, it knocked Shaft down, Falzer down, swallowed me. We had no chance. This thing is big.
We need those supplies.
Okay, then we need to rally up a team and make a plan. Do you have anything that can dig?
With enough force, we can move the boulder, I suppose. We'll have to send a party down there. Even if we don't find the supplies, perhaps this is another way of attack against the Neogi.
Definitely.
Samuel will already be marching us into the mountains themselves.
Is Samuel here?
No, as far as I know, his ship has yet to arrive, but he's due today.
We definitely, at the very least, need to close off this tunnel. They can get to our camp so fast that way.
Yeah, if you're going to use it to flank them, then get a big force, but, it wasn't real stable.
There was buckets of dirt falling from the ceiling, like, it could cave in.
Well, I'm not going to do anything until I can brief Samuel. I'll let him decide what we do with the tunnel. But for now, like you suggested, we'll post a guard at the entrance of it and hope nothing comes out.
They need rest. There is nothing more they can do today. And I'll gesture to the other three.
I'm so spent.
We can see Drukal from where we are, right? At least the outside of the city. Do we see any issues with Drukal visibly?
If you were to climb to the top of the tower, you would be able to see the outer wall of the city, but obviously in amidst the tents, like just looking, the 2 or 3 miles to the gate, towards the gate that you had left the city by, it's kind of the obstruction. But yeah, I mean, if you want to scale to the top of the tower to get kind of this overview look, you absolutely can.
I just say to Sally, and you got more problems. There's Neogi tunnels under the city. I mean, these things, there's a network.
They're everywhere.
If you're here to save your call, there's a lot more things you need to take care of.
Without retrieving those supplies, we will need the city more than ever.
Have you seen Braun? Have you seen... Who else are we missing? Dreg?
Your companions.
Yeah.
I did not know you were here. I haven't seen them.
Okay, yeah, we sent them back to help when we went in the tunnel.
I would assume they're still on the ship with Grimby.
Hopefully. There's just so many of them.
We are numerous as well.
Mia, clears her throat and pretends to be not scared anymore. She forgot. She's so hurt.
Are there more forces arriving?
Every day.
Where's a good place to rest?
We can put you up in one of the barracks tents. Would you prefer to stay close to the tower here?
Yes, so we can be informed of Samuel's arrival.
Well, let's go back and get Falzer, and then we can take a rest. I have a feeling this is not going to stop anytime soon.
I'm just gonna sit here for right now. He'll be okay. He's got Denny.
You head up to the barracks. We'll meet you there.
Falzer. Trailing behind you is the paladin that was speaking to you. He kind of... I mean, he's very interested in Denny. I mean, he's kind of looking at it. I don't know if you are paying attention to him at all, or if you're just zooming off as quickly as you can.
I mean, If I realized that someone was following me, I would be sort of curiously just looking back from time to time to see what they're doing.
Yes, and it is very clear he's interested in your magic broom.
Hello there. I see you looking at this broom of mine.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yes, me as well. It's quite the thing that I've come to grow quite fond of, actually. It has a mind of its own at times, but also what comes with that is a bit of personality. So there's an injured person down here. I'm hoping that, I don't know what I can do to help him, but I can't just leave him down here. Told him I would come back for him.
Okay, let's get him. How far in is he?
Not too far, I don't believe. Anyway, well, that's where I left him. Wasn't too far from the mouth of this tunnel, just this way. And so I will keep hovering along toward that pile of rubble where we left the Darkling. I guess we left him a bit further in, but
A little bit, but not too far, like you said. Yes, so as you and your companion fly into the tent, you do see there's about a half a dozen other paladins around, and they seem to be kind of scavenging, I guess, but picking up what the loose bits of things that were left behind, basically, and just collecting them and going through them and seeing if there's anything still usable left behind. And in addition to them, there's another two kind of just at the top of the mouth of the tunnel, just trying to peer in. Both of them are humans, though, so it doesn't look like they can see too far into the darkness. But your new friend here will certainly, he walks you up as you're kind of floating beside him to the edge of the tunnel.
Actually, just before I go down, are there any scraps of cloth or perhaps even like part of the tent that was shredded that I could bring along with me? I'm just wondering if I might need, if this Darkling is going to try to leave the tunnel, something I could use to cover up as much of him as possible from the sunlight.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, you can certainly find some discarded clothing or tear off a strip of the burlap of the tent. Absolutely.
Okay, I will do that before I go down.
What do you need that for?
Well, this person has a bit of a unique condition. I don't know if you'd call it a condition, but they like to keep themselves well covered from the sun.
Okay, after you. You gonna need help to carry him out?
Yeah, I think so. As you can probably tell, I'm not the strongest of persons, and he's quite injured.
Okay, and he'll try to, he tentatively takes a step onto the slope and will try to make his athletics check here to even get down. Does fail. Basically, he's like slowly puts his foot out, and as soon as he makes contact, it slides out from under him. He just tumbles down to 30 feet of this steep slope to the bottom of the tunnel. Oh!
Goodness, watch your step. You're not going to be much help if you keep doing that.
Stands up and stretches out his back. I mean, maybe coming out, I could hop on that nifty broom of yours, instead of having to claw my way out.
Well, yeah, perhaps we could try it. I don't know if this broom will be able to hold myself, you, and this injured person as well, but we'll figure something out. Okay, so I will continue on down past this little pile of rubble and over to where I expect Bakla is hiding out.
And you find him. He's still slumped against the wall of the tunnel, kind of where you left him. And you see that his head's tilted back and his eyes are closed.
So I will dismount and give him a bit of a shake on the shoulder. Bakla, I'm back.
You came back.
Yes. I think it's safe up above, but are you going to be able to go out in the sun? I've brought some more things for you to wrap yourself in, but you can't go back through the tunnel. It doesn't lead anywhere. It's a dead end.
Can you take me back to Drakal?
Well, perhaps tomorrow, but I can bring you up and try and find somewhere safe and sheltered for you to rest. In the meantime,
I'm just glad you came back. And he will take, the material that you offer him and kind of wrap himself up in it as he struggles to get up on his one good foot.
okay. How is he looking? Is he still really beaten and bloodied, or is it mostly just his leg that's injured?
It does look mostly like it is his leg that's giving him the most trouble, but other than that, he seems to be holding up pretty well, considering.
All right. Well, I will call over to the paladin. This is him. Like I said, he's not going to be able to walk too well. He's going to need our help. Perhaps. Oh, I don't know. I don't think the broom can carry all three of us. Maybe what we can do is both of us hold on to the broom, try to walk up the slope, and Buckla, here, we can sort of. Do you think you can get up on top of it and maintain your balance?
I'll try. So this paladin will come over, and Buckla kind of all wrapped up. And the paladin, he's a human, right? He's having a little trouble seeing, but he kind of feels around and will able to help Buckla along as he kind of limp to the opening of the tunnel. And obviously, Buckla kind of starts to get a little fidgety the closer to get to the sunlight that is coming in, but he just kind of squeezes the tent flap kind of. You gave him around him a little more tightly, so his face is completely obscured, and basically you can't see any of his features.
Okay, and then I will. I guess I'll just be sort of on the right hand side of the broom, holding to give myself a little bit more help getting footing going up this slope, and then the paladin can be on the other, and we'll try our best to climb back up.
Okay, why don't you give me an athletics check here? I'll give you advantage on it.
14.
Okay, that's more than enough. With the help of Denny and the paladin, you can all, not so easily, but you can all kind of struggle to the top of this tunnel mouth, back up into the supply tent. And where do you want to take Buckla?
I'll say to the paladin, I appreciate your help, but I need to catch up with my friends. I'll take it from here. And I will hop back on the broom if I'm able to, sort of trying to keep from knocking Buckla off, and head over to where the rest of the party was headed to try and catch up with them.
Okay, and now I'm just picturing E.T. with you and Buckla.
That's right. Yeah.
The broom.
Yeah. He's pointing to Drakal. Take me home.
Buckla Phono.
Yeah, so I figured that over by the tower, it'll be safer for Buckla, and also might be some protection from the sun.
And Shakara, you were waiting for Falsey?
I'm waiting for Falzarin so he knows where we are.
All right, you see, of course, Falzarin, he has retrieved Buckla, and you can take him back to the barracks where a lot of you can assumedly go and get a rest in.
That's it. End of the show. Thanks for listening. But before you go, I got a couple of things I want to tell you about. You can find the Incorrigible Party all over the interwebs. You can just go to incorrigibleparty.com and you can find all the links there. While you're there, check out the Patreon. There's some really cool stuff you could do with the Patreon, like give inspiration to Shaft. Or you can waste it and give it to one of those other mooks. Even worse, you could give it to Leland. Also, you can get access to mini campaigns and other cool stuff that we do. You're automatically entered into all contests. I mean, it's really a great deal. The Incorrigible Party is sponsored by Critical Hit Design. All ambient sounds and music provided by tabletopaudio.com. Intro and outro music is by Josh Jarvis, and you can email him at jamesmercymusic@gmail.com if you need any music stuff. Okay, that's it. Now you can go. Happy adventuring!